Hello and welcome to India Today. I am Sanjay Ponnappa.
And this is Maruthi Acharya, and today we are here with the review of the latest Malayalam film Eko. For all the people who already watched the film, what is your review? Mention that in the comments below, and what are your favorite scenes from the film? I think there are a lot. Do mention them in the comment section below. Sanjay, your one line of the film.
It was slow. It did start off slow. It took its own sweet time to get to the good spots. It gets lost in between as well. But
Okay.
the climax was strong. Very impressive in my opinion. I walked out of the film happy.
There are a lot of moments and things that makes this film a very brilliant film, but I feel there are also some things in the film in terms of pitch and presentation and the way the screenplay was designed, especially in the first half. If avoided, could have been a milestone classic film in terms of thriller genre. Overall, it is a great film, definitely worth your time. Now let's get into the details. Sanjay, what worked for you in the film?
The first thing is, are the dogs? Man, are they a formidable, bunch of bodyguards to have? And that was the most impressive part because it's not just how you present the dog, right? Nowhere is it, when you talk about dogs, naturally that warm feeling, all of that just comes naturally. And it's not just how you present the dog, right? Nowhere is it, when you talk about dogs, naturally that warm feeling, all of that just comes naturally. And most of the dog films, that is what gets cashed on.
Yeah.
So here that is not at all the case. And the way the dogs were presented were very unique, and that is something,
Some scenes.
even in places where there are scenes where, you talk about the dogs this, dogs that, it keeps going on a loop. And like I mentioned earlier, in some places, even with the dogs, the plot kind of gets lost. But at the same time, the presentation was so impressive that I didn't mind that part.
First thing that I should really appreciate the makers, writer Bahul Ramesh and director Dinjith, is how they have neatly arranged the information in the film. It is a very information heavy, well researched, well integrated information, a very unique point, very unique plot. This thriller is very unique in a lot of senses, from the setup, from the premise, from the whole conflict, Kuriyachan, the development, the dogs, the integration of Malayalam and from Malaysia to Kerala, how was that happened? So it is very information heavy, but both writer, director, they managed to put things in a way where it is not overwhelming for audience. Was curious and was following through the information properly, and I think everybody would. So that is a very strong quality in the film.
I will take the opposite stand in there because I felt overwhelmed. None of the information, in my opinion, was actually being, put through with the visuals or more storytelling any other than the dialogues.
Okay.
It was all dialogues throughout the first half, which I felt like was a little overwhelming.
Okay.
To give an example, there's a lot of, conversations about Kuriyachan, who is missing. So much so that it kind of starts sounding like he's some mythical creature. Kuriyachan is that, his dogs, this, he did that, he did this. There's so much going on, but visually, you'd never really get to see anything but, just a little bits and pieces of him just being there, him just doing stuff. Considering all this, it's not just Kuriyachan, but there's a lot of places where there's a lot of dialogues, there's a lot of conversations and information being put across to keep the loose ends closed, but it feels like there could have been a better way to put that across, which would be a little more, thrilling, to say the least.
Second thing that really worked for me is technical department, sound, visuals, cinematography, shot design, especially all the scenes that integrate dogs, and the choice of how they have framed some shots around dogs, especially the scenes where they are supposed to attack, they are guarding. Again, I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's this one sequence in Malaysia. Oh my god, again, Sanjay felt that it is a little lengthy, but for me personally, it worked for me. I was thoroughly invested in that entire sequence. The sound design, how they have designed the entire sequence, not just that. In the entire film, I think technical departments did a phenomenal job.
I feel like the film is what it is because of its technical department, and personally with the editing, it could have been a little more crisper, but otherwise, man, Bahul Ramesh, wow, I was just blown away by the world that they've shown from the recce that they've done, wherever they are, the locations that they've chosen to shoot this thing in. Yeah, the music was hypnotizing, And it's not just about the score in the background, the audiography, the sound design of the film, from the the growling of the dog to everything that is happening, to the atmosphere up there in the mountains.
You feel like you're in that
Yeah,
dense forest, and even the sound design is so apt that you can feel the moisture around. That is the detail.
You get transported into that world, and because of that, the technical department was just did a really solid job with this film. It kind of has that hypnotizing effect.
Another strong quality of the film is performances, especially when it is a thriller, and this type of thriller, right? Everybody should create doubts on them, but also you should feel like they are innocent. I think everybody in the cast and crew did a phenomenal job in communicating that.
What I felt in recent time, either it is true or not, I don't know. You guys let me know in the comment section below. Saurabh Sachdeva just pops up in the most randomest places where you would not expect him. Playing a character that you would not expect.
Yeah.
Just the most random.
And makes it believable.
I'm like, I saw him in Baghi 4 last, and now I'm seeing him in Eko, and what is happening here? I did not expect his casting in the film. That was a surprise, and to be honest, it does feel like it is an odd casting.
Correct.
Right. It doesn't really fit into the world of Malayalam cinema or the characters or anybody over there. And we had a Malaysian actor there.
Yeah.
Somehow he was the one who stood out. But on the contrary, with the whole, mythical presentation of Kuriyachan, it kind of felt right that a character like him is casted, because he stands out from everybody else who's there in the cast. He's he's a separate guy. There is something, different about him when compared to everybody else. Kuriyachan's character, played by Saurabh Sachdeva, just stands apart.
Also, talking about Sandeep Pradeep, again, mild spoiler, there is a reveal of that character in the end. I'm not going to give the reveal, but there is an arc to that character and there is a reveal in the climax. I could make sense of the metaphorical idea of what that how the character was designed because of the way the director extracted performance out of the act. His performance and the way director handled with that character, I really like that as well.
The one thing I liked in the film is the way they've dropped hints throughout the film.
Yeah.
There's a lot of slowness, which I mentioned. There's losing of direction, but you can see that there's a lot of places where they've dropped breadcrumbs, which kind of place at the end.
Yeah.
Right. The payoff actually has an impact because of these breadcrumbs throughout the film.
Yes. Getting to the things that didn't work for me, the movie is, despite all the positive things that I've said, is painfully slow, especially in the first half. Because it's not that I'm losing interest over the narrative. I feel the setting of pitch and tonality of the film is where, especially in the first half, where the movie actually faltered. The first 10 to 15 minutes of the film is usually how you set the tone of a film. With Eko, what happened is that they set it as a very serious thriller where everybody is trying to find this one mysterious Kuriyachan. But the movie is not about the end result of finding him. It is about the journey and how the characters unravel. I think personally, the way they've adjusted the tone and what they told that the film is going to be in the first 15 minutes, I think there is some miscalculation there, because of which the movie actually feels a little more slower than what it should be.
Well, that might be the tone, but also I have two other approaches too. One thing is that I feel either the film could have been a lot shorter than what it was, or the screenplay could have been a lot better, presented better, because there is content, there's a lot of things happening. There was scope for some drama as well. If you just look at it, there is that one little village, there are the mountains, and there is that one little Malaysian set. Nothing else is there in the film, and I feel like in order to just give it all in these locations, they've tried to just feed a lot of information, which was my complaint exactly. Feed a lot of information with the dialogues rather than show things. I feel like there could have been a little more world built. The second thing is, why I spoke about editing is because I feel like this is not just the editor, but it also involves the director and the writer, whoever had the final say, because there were a lot of shots in the film which were aesthetically very pleasing, very beautiful. There were all these landscape shots, all these filler shots, very beautiful. There were this tight frame set which were very aesthetic and had a lot of expressions involved in all of it. But there were several of these shots which didn't add anything to the story.
That's something that I absolutely agree, because again, not to compare both the films, but taking Kishkindha Kaandam, which is the second installment in the animal trilogy.
First.
No, first is Files, Kerala Files.
That is second. First is Kishkindha Kaandam.
Oh, is it? Okay. So taking the example of one of the films from the trilogy, which is Kishkindha Kaandam, there is potential of that film also becoming slow if they didn't handle the way they did. But every scene actually adds to the narrative. Every scene actually adds to the character, adds to the story and the proceedings. But in Echo, in contrary, I think that was not the case. There are some filler scenes. There are some, again, in a thriller, there shouldn't be scope for a filler scene is what I feel. Sometimes you try to develop the character, you try to give more value, more world building, more information. Again, even though it is seamless, but how much of it is adding to the actual goal or core point of the story is something that we should actually, that's when they say editor should be brutal when he's cutting the scenes. So yes, some scenes should have been avoided is what I also felt.
Well, that was our review of the film Echo. So Echo released in theatres on November 21st. On the same day, we also had Prithviraj Sukumaran's Vilayat-Buddha.
Yeah.
So we couldn't really get to the video, but the written review is on Google. Do search for it. It's on India Today's website. But what I've been seeing a lot of mixed reactions for the film. I get why it is. Me personally, I kind of enjoyed the entertainment quotient. It feels like it is a Telugu film made with Malayalam sensibilities. I know you guys are going to talk a lot about that. I hope you'll be polite in the comment section. But to be honest,
even I heard comments like it is Pushpa of Malayalam cinema.
yeah,
stuff
and
like
I
that.
wouldn't really disagree with it. But there's a lot of emotional weightage to it. There's a lot of emotional growth that the characters go through, and that drama, along with the commercial entertainment aspect, I kind of like, because that is where entertainment is. So I enjoyed the film. Do mention your whatever reaction review about the film is on the comment section below.
Yeah.
But getting back to Echo, 100% recommended by us, but we always recommend you to go to the theatres and watch the film, especially if you watched the trailer and found the film interesting. Watch it in the theatres is the advice that we'd give you.
Definitely. And if we miss any review, reaction, any trailer, teaser that dropped by, please do mention. You keep mentioning, but please continue to do that as well. With that, this is Maruthi Acharya.
I am Sanjay Ponnappa.
And you're watching India Today.